There are moments in life when everything changes, not in the blink of an eye, but in the slow, relentless grind of time. For Mia, it began when her father fell ill. She had grown up in a modest home, where the walls were thin and every sound echoed through the house. The laughter of her childhood felt distant now, replaced by the quiet hum of worry that seemed to settle over everything. Her father had been the rock of their family, a man who worked tirelessly to provide. But now, as he lay in a hospital bed, it felt as though the ground beneath her feet was crumbling. Mia was in college, her first year, studying to become a teacher. It was the dream she had held on to since she was a little girl, standing in front of her dolls, pretending they were her students. Her parents had sacrificed everything to get her there. She was supposed to be focused on her studies, on building her future. But now, all she could think about was home. Her mother tried to reassure her, "We'll manage, Mia. Just focus on your schoolwork." But Mia could hear the strain in her voice. She could see the exhaustion in her mother's eyes, the lines etched deeper into her face with each passing day. And so, Mia did what she thought was right. She took on more shifts at her part-time job, working late into the night to send money home. She studied in the few hours of quiet she could find, but her mind was always elsewhere, on hospital bills, on her mother's tired voice, on the weight of responsibility that she wasn't sure she could carry. Weeks passed, then months. Her grades slipped. Her professors noticed the change in her, but Mia didn't have the energy to explain. What could she say? That life was pulling her under, that no matter how hard she tried, it never seemed to be enough. She started to lose herself, the girl who had once been so full of hope, who had believed in the power of dreams, now woke up each morning with a sense of dread. She moved through her days like a ghost, haunted by thoughts of failure. Failure to be the daughter her parents needed, failure to keep up with her studies, failure to hold it all together. One night, after a particularly grueling shift at the diner, Mia collapsed onto her bed. Her body ached, her mind was numb, and the walls of her tiny dorm room felt like they were closing in. She stared at the ceiling, her chest tight with the weight of everything she hadn't said, everything she couldn't say. "How much more can I take?" she whispered into the darkness. But the silence swallowed her words. She didn't sleep that night. Instead, she sat by the window watching the rain as it beat against the glass, her heart heavy with despair. She thought about quitting, about leaving school, going home, and helping her mother full-time. It felt like the only option, the only way to ease the burden. But as the hours dragged on, something shifted. In the quiet of that long night, Mia realized that if she gave up now, she would lose more than just her education. She would lose herself. All the years of sacrifice, the dreams she had clung to, they would mean nothing if she walked away. And so, with a deep breath, Mia made a decision. She wasn't going to let life break her. Not like this. The next day, she went to her professors, explaining her situation for the first time. She asked for help, something she had always been too proud to do. To her surprise, they listened. They offered extensions on assignments, gave her advice on how to manage her workload. For the first time in months, Mia felt like she wasn't carrying the weight of the world alone. She began to take small steps. She cut back on her work hours, focused more on her studies, and started to let go of the guilt that had been eating away at her. It wasn't easy. There were still nights when the stress felt unbearable, when the fear of failing her family kept her awake. But little by little, Mia learned how to survive the storm. It was a slow process, and there were many days when she stumbled, but each time she got back up, she felt a little stronger. Her grades improved. She made time to visit her father, sitting by his bedside and reading him stories about the lessons she had learned. She stopped trying to be perfect and allowed herself to be human. By the time graduation rolled around, Mia had changed. She was no longer the same girl who had walked into college with bright eyes and big dreams. She was scarred, tired, but stronger. Her father, still recovering, sat in the front row of the graduation ceremony, tears in his eyes, as he watched his daughter accept her diploma. In the end, Mia realized that life doesn't wait for you to be ready. It doesn't ask if you can handle what it throws your way. But in the darkest moments, when everything seems too much, that's when you discover who you truly are. Not because you win every battle, but because you refuse to stop fighting. Life will challenge you. It will push you to your limits, sometimes even past them. You'll find yourself standing in the middle of a storm, unsure if you can survive one more day. And that's when you'll ask yourself, how much more can I take? It's in these moments, in the darkest hours when you're faced with your deepest fears and insecurities, that you'll find the answer. Not from the world around you, not from the people who see your struggle, but from inside, where the true strength lies. You don't get stronger by avoiding the storm. You get stronger by standing tall in the middle of it, by refusing to let it tear you down, by taking every hit and still daring to rise again. It won't be easy, and it won't happen overnight. But step by step, you'll find that even when you feel broken, even when the weight feels unbearable, you are stronger than you ever imagined. So, remember this. It's okay to fall. It's okay to break. What matters is that you don't stay there. Keep fighting, even when the odds are stacked against you. Keep moving, even when the path ahead is unclear. Because at the end of this struggle, there is growth, there is strength, and there is a version of you waiting on the other side, one who knows that no matter what life throws your way, you will endure, you will rise, you are unbreakable. So when life comes at you, don't shy away, face it, fight through it. And in the end, you'll realize that the power to overcome was inside you all along.